Hey friends, Mr. Producer here, and I wanted to let you know that registration for the Equip Expo 2022 is officially open. Brian has partnered with Equip to help save you 50%. That's right, not 10%, but 50% off registration. Now, if you want to support Brian and all of the amazing, helpful content that he puts out, this is a great way to do it. We'll be sharing more details as they come down the pike, but we can't wait to see you at the biggest green industry trade show of the year right there in Louisville, Kentucky, October the 19th through the 21st. Don't forget to register today with the link that's in the show notes and use the promo code BRIAN. That's BRIAN.
You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. It is your host, Brian Fullerton, here hanging with you guys. And today, we're going to be talking a little bit about making money and how to be a more profitable owner-operator business with your lawn care and landscaping company. One of the questions that I get asked the most, especially from folks that have a smaller business, and smaller doesn't mean bad or anything like that. It just means maybe you're just getting started, you're on the come up, or maybe you're just an owner-operator, or you choose to be an owner-operator business, which was my story for a very long while. I only had me and a guy, maybe me and two guys working for me. So I would kind of designate that as a small business. But one of the questions I get the most is, how do you make a livable wage as an owner-operator business? That is a really, really good question, because a lot of folks are out there and they're like, hey man, I'm working 8 to 5, 8 to 6 every day. It's just me. Sometimes I don't feel like I'm making the progress that I want. I don't feel like I'm going as fast as I can, or just not enough work is getting done, or maybe my rates are not where they need to be, so on and so forth. Those are a lot of the common questions I get. And that is, how do I make, a significant income or a decent income or a livable wage with my lawn and landscaping company? I mean, after all, there's only one person out there, putting their hand to the plow, or, kind of getting the rock up the mountain, if you will. And, you got mower payments, truck payments, and a lot going out. So it's kind of like, there's some mystery there. There's how do we make more money as an owner operator, running our lawn and landscape company, or a smaller operation? How do we become profitable? Because here's the deal. There's other guys on the other side of the fence where they're an owner operator and they're making $50,000, $60,000, $80,000, $100,000 net from the company with a $30,000, $40,000 salary. And sometimes if you would tell that to the first camp, they're like, that's impossible. How do you get there? That doesn't make any sense. I just don't see how. So that's what I want to do. I want to propose a couple different things that I wrote down here while I was out working today, thinking about this topic and idea. And I think it's one that will be helpful for a long while. So it's a good podcast episode that you guys can always share with other lawn bros, or maybe share it to the next guy who's just getting started, and always point back to episode 350, whatever this is, or wherever we're at the podcast. And then myself included, when I get asked this question, I can always reference this as a resource for the new guy. So here's what I want to do really quick. I just want to say real time. Man, things are just wild, up here in Michigan. We've been dealing with crazy weather. We finally got some nice days, a couple nice breaks in the weather where it's like 40s and 50s, which some of you guys like breaks in the weather, 40s and 50s. I know. We're not all down south in, Georgia, where it's 75 and 80 degrees and half y'all are poolside after 5 o'clock, right? We're not there just yet. Wild enough, 2 weeks ago, it was 2 inches of snow. Just yesterday, we were mowing, and the high was 39 degrees. Real feel all day was 32, and we still ended up mowing 20-25 lawns, a couple of HOAs, commercials, the whole deal. Full 8 hours out there, man. And telling you what, we were very, very cold by the end of the day. So it takes it out of you. But you know what? The weather seems to be breaking up here in Michigan. We've got some nice 60 and 70 degree days, and we're loving and appreciating every moment of it, right? That Midwest amnesia is going to start kicking in any minute, and we're going to start enjoying these beautiful summers that we have up here. Amen. So really quick, one other thing I just wanted to mention before we kick it over to Marty to hear from today's show sponsors. Thank you to all of you guys that have already used our JE Plus Expo. It is now rebranded as Equip Expo. That is the annual trade show and conference that is going on down in Louisville, Kentucky. It's going to be October 18th through the 21st. I believe the trade show is the 19th through the 21st, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So if you guys want to check that out and get your ticket, it's only $10 right now. Normally it's $20. The promo code Brian is the code you can use at checkout to save 50% on your registration. You do have to register one for you, one for your crew, one for each person that you're bringing. But check that out. We really appreciate the support. If you guys don't know, all the different people that have a code, they get a small kickback. They're all in partnership with the Expo, which is a great way to put some extra, money in the pocket of those people that you love and watch and listen to, and get content from and get fed from, if you will. So if you guys want to support, fantastic. If you don't, no big deal. Or use the person's code who you like the most, whatever. I don't care. But if you guys want to register today, go to gaplusexpo.com or Equip Expo and register there. We'll have our link in the show notes as well. So without further ado, let's kick it over to Marty, Mr. Producer, and we're going to talk a little bit more about making some money. How about that? I like that. And we'll come right on back.
Ballard Innovative Products is a full line of gear for the lawn and landscape professional. From mower gear, safety gear, trailer racks, equipment securement, equipment servicing tools, aerators, mower blades, X-blades, aluminum baggers, cleaning products, snow removal tools, and so much more to make you efficient, effective, safe, and profitable in the field. Be sure to check out the Ballard-Inc.com website to help dominate and elevate your business this season. With over 20 years selling accessories and 30 years in the business, they're sure they've got something you can't live without. Corey also said to tell you they appreciate the support and look forward to serving you this season, and to stay safe and keep grinding, friends. And oh yeah, don't forget to use Brian's 10 at checkout to save 10%.
All right, guys, we're going to jump right back into it. This topic is going to be short and sweet for sure. Actually, two reasons. One, it's not a complicated topic, and I want to just make it really, really simple and just kind of dispel some myths, but also just lay it out there factually, how you make more money, and just talk maybe in some business philosophy, some macro ways a business runs to make more money. And then number two, I also have to get to dinner here in about an hour and a half. My wife's brother is in town. He's from Spokane. Well, he's from here, but he's like stationed in like Washington or Spokane, Washington. I guess it's Spokane, Washington. And he's like doing like wildlife and forest firefighting. Like, so he's like a crazy, he's a ginger. Okay. So that's all I probably need to say, but he's an awesome dude. But he's going out west and fighting like forest fires and all that stuff that's going on in the last couple of years from California to, I don't know geographically anything past Salt Lake, but you guys know what I'm saying. So any which way, I want to spend some time with him, spend some time with my wife and Liz's mom, my mother-in-law. So we're going to go out to dinner here, but I did want to give this topic the time of day. So here's just what I want to talk about really quick. And this is really, really simple, but at the same point, I don't want to trivialize it or patronize the topic or the idea, but here's really, really simply what we have to realize. At least this is what I've realized in my business. I'll talk from personal experience. When we're out there working in a service industry business, we're trading time for money, period. Period, case closed, right? Now, we all have skill sets and different knowledge levels, education levels. Some of us have machinery, some of us have lawnmowers, some of us have rakes and wheelbarrows. But at the bottom line, at the end of the day, you're trading time for money. And a really, really simple equation in business is, in a service industry, when we can, whoever's trading more labor, more time for money is going to win the equation. Period. Case closed. Hands down. There's 100 variables. There's 100 different ways of breaking that down, and I'll get into it here in a couple examples. But let me give you a really, really simple. For instance, let's say that you have a restaurant that you just opened up, and it's a burger shop. It's a corner burger shop, downtown area. Everybody comes, visits a little pond and walks to the downtown area. You get a little cheeseburger and French fries, and then right next to you is a little ice cream store, or maybe you sell milkshakes if you know the best way to ethically upsell, right? Another podcast that we did a while back. But let's say that you make the best sliders, the best burgers in town, right? They're a double patty, bacon, cheese, just thick brioche bun. You get the little bun on the grill, so it's like nice and toasty. It's a hot pink center, the best way to eat a burger. You got some 80-20 ground chuck because you want that lean stuff. You don't want some 90-10. You don't want 92-8. You want the 80-20, right? Because you want it to just feel that grease. As you bite into it, just juices all over you. And you get the mayo that pops out the side and the ketchup that pops out. And you want to eat some well done, crispy, crinkly French fries, all right? So you are making the meanest, baddest burger in the block, in town, in the city, and you are crushing it, right? and your restaurant is just crushing it. You guys sales are good. You're living the dream. You're a small business owner, and you're off to the races. Okay. By the way, sorry for any of you guys that are like 30 minutes out from lunch. You're probably like, you know what? I need to go kill a burger now. So, dang it, Fullerton. I get it. My bad. So here's what I was gonna say. You got a great shop. You got a great restaurant, and you're making a great burger, and you're slaying it, right? Obviously and arguably, you can make a better burger than kitty corner to you just down the road is McDonald's. McDonald's has their little like $1.49 cheeseburger, little double, and you get 2 cheeseburgers, French fries, and a Coke for like, $5-6, right? McDonald's cheeseburgers, the mystery meat, we're not really sure if it's beef. We're not really sure if it's kangaroo meat. We don't really know. Is it a grade beef above dog food, or is it dog food? We don't know. But here's the deal. And almost anybody listening in, and I don't care if you're a chef or not, I don't care if you're part of the grill gang or not, more than likely you're going to make a better burger than McDonald's. Does that make sense? You're gonna be able to make a better burger than what those guys are slinging. That's for sure. In fact, your restaurant down the road is making better burgers than McDonald's, and you make the meanest burger on the block. But here's the deal: you guys probably already know where this is going. Doesn't matter how many burgers you make. It doesn't matter how great they taste, how great your customers are, how loyal they are, how everybody comes after Little League and comes and gets burgers and shakes. The reality is that you're one store, you're one unit, you're one place, one location. And how many stores does McDonald's have? Right? They have 40,000 locations, plus or minus 5 or 10,000, right? Somebody's going to fact check me. They have 32,571. Okay. But the reality is that your burger shop, Mike's Burgers on the corner, amazing burgers. You have one shop, one store, one location. And even if you're always there and you're super efficient and you're amazing, and if there's time to lean, there's time to clean, and nobody's standing around, and if there's no customers, you're sweeping the parking lot and whatever, you're hitting it at a 98% efficiency, whatever that means in this esoteric example, but you're 98% efficient. And then McDonald's across the street, it's all ran by high schoolers, and whatever. Maybe they're running at a 78%, maybe a B minus, right? Like 82% efficiency. Here's the deal: you're running at a 98% efficiency. They're running at an 82% efficiency. Even though you're running at a much more productive and much more efficient, much more a much better outfit and operation, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because McDonald's has 40,000 stores that are all running at an 82% efficiency, right? So what am I trying to say? It's trading time for money. It's hours in. It's labor hours. It's production. Now, again, we can get kind of fancy in this whole example talking about, well, I have a skid steer and I've got a dump truck and I've got machines, and that's where you can bill out machines for crazy amounts of money and put an end count out there and you can do fancy stuff with it. Dude, for sure. That's why you'll see J Squared Outdoors and Andy Mulder being able to charge these amazing rates for what they do, but highly skilled. They have machines. It's very similar. But at the end of the day, if one guy's got 1 excavator and one guy's got 10 excavators, the company with 10 excavators, arguably with some decent operators and all things kind of being equal, is going to outproduce the company that has 1. So what am I trying to say? When you're an owner-operator, you have to figure out a way to start trading more labor, more production in your company to bring in more revenue. It's extremely simple. Now you're like, well, I'm working my guts out. I'm doing everything I can, and I'm only bringing in like $60,000 gross, or $90,000, or $120,000. Like I'm working my fingers to the bone. I don't see how I can make any more money. I'm doing everything I can. I'm working as many hours as physically possible, which that is a recipe for disaster long term, because obviously something's got to give. You're not going to have family time. You're not going to have time on Saturday or Sunday. Your health is going to give out. You're going to have ulcers or a heart attack. In your 30s, 40s, and 50s. Right? We don't want that. So your relationships are going to suffer, from your kids to your wife to your husband. Right? All that in between. And so you're like, I don't understand. I can't crack the code. I'm working as hard as I can. Right. So that's the issue. It's not how hard can you work. It's how hard can you get as many things or people working in your company to trade for production. I know this sounds kind of simple, but I'm trying to crack the code here for you guys that are like, well, I just don't understand as an owner-operator how I can make more money. Here's reality. You need to hire people. You need to hire people. And I know that's a scary thing sometimes when you're brand new. You're like, dude, I'm learning mowers and equipment and routes and CRMs, and I need a bookkeeper, and I need this and I need that, and cash is all over the place. Some days I have money, some days I don't have money. Some days I'm borrowing $1,200 from my wife because I got to go fix something, and then she's mad at me, and blah, 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 blah. Right? I don't know if you guys can relate, but that's like the chaos of a new business owner that first year, 2-3 years even, right? And it's wild. But here's the deal. People are like, you want me to go hire somebody? Like, A, I don't even know how to. B, I don't even have the money to. So I don't know how, and I don't have the money to. Well, here's the deal. We can help you with that. You don't know how to. Get a payroll company, get an employee handbook and a new hire application form at Entrepreneur Academy. It's $200, I think, for like the bundle, the employee handbook and the employee application form. It's like $219. Now you can hire people. You're empowered to hire people. Put them through the ringer. Hire them through a payroll company. It's extremely simple. A payroll company is you sign up, they file all the forms with you and for you. Every 2 weeks, you're going to send your lady or your guy the amount of hours for you and your people. They're going to withdraw the funds on Wednesday, transfers on Thursday. It's in people's bank accounts on Friday. If your payroll for the week is $1,200, you're gonna have $1,200 deducted and their fees, which is usually $50 or something like that per paycheck. You got 2 employees. You got an extra $100. So now you got $1,300. It's going to get deducted, and $950 net is going to be deposited in whoever's payroll accounts, because they're going to minus out the taxes that are all going to get paid into the 16 different things that get withdrawn out of your check. That's the difference between gross and net. Boom. That's all you need to know about hiring employees. Set a standard, be a leader, get an employee handbook, get them hooked into your payroll system, tell them to meet you at the job site or your locker or your yard or your house or wherever you meet your people Monday at 7:30 in the morning. That's it. So I don't want to hear anybody say 12 months from now, 18 months from now, yeah, I was supposed to hire somebody, or I'm afraid of hiring somebody. Look, I'm trying to be kind and nice at the same time. I get it. But at the same point, hiring people is not as hard as you think. Look around in the country. There's 330 million Americans. I would say 7 out of 10 people are probably an employee, right? It's everybody has trained somebody on the job. Everybody has hired somebody or been in an interview or conducted an interview, right? Like, well, I don't know what questions to ask. Think back to your last interview. What questions were you asked? Start from there. Go to YouTube, go to Google, top 10 questions to ask in an interview. Whatever. Go pick the brain of a friend or another coworker or another company owner and say, hey, can you give me like 6 or 7 questions I should be asking on a job interview? A quick Google of that will come up with 100 blogs. Takes 10 minutes, right? It's extremely simple stuff. So here's what we're trying to do. We need to get more people into the company to trade their time for money. And you're like, well, I don't want to hire people because they're expensive. It's going to cost me $300, $600, $800, $1,200 a week for an employee. Like, you're thinking it's just an expense. However, employees are free. Good employees, decent employees and above are free. Decent employees are free. Good employees are profitable. Great employees are worth their weight in gold. Let me give you, for instance, what we're doing when we're hiring somebody is we're finding somebody and we're taking their labor and we're getting it at wholesale and we're selling it to the customer at retail. That's what trading hours for dollars is. That's what labor is. It's extremely simple. You're going to pay your guys $15, $18, $20, $25, $35 an hour, and we're going to bill out the customer $45, $55, $65, $75, $95 an hour for their labor rate, per man hour rate. I'm giving you the sauce right now. I'm telling you, this is how business works. And so here's the deal. When you're a new business owner, or your first year, your second year, your third year in business, it doesn't even matter how long. It could be from day one, right? Because from day one, I always had somebody working with me. I had my younger brother working for me. You guys heard that kind of yuck story. He lasted about 2 months. After that, I had my uncle working for me. I had another friend, Brett, working for me. Brett worked with me on and off for about 5 years. Then I had, my gosh, a litany of people: Aaron, Connor, Noah, Rob, another guy from another friend of mine named Sean. Dozens, literally probably 15 people have been through Brian's Law Maintenance in a good way. I've never had to fire anybody. I've never had to be like, dude, you ain't working out. I've had decent employees. I don't know. I just had some success with it, whatever. But I've always had people working with me from day one, because I knew in the beginning, I can only mow so much grass. I can only trade so many hours for dollars. I can only trade 40, 50, 60, 80 hours a week, right? Like, and by the way, You want to trade 80 hours a week, that's fine, that's awesome. Maybe you do that when you're, 18 to 20, 26 years old. But eventually you get older, you start needing naps. You can't go as hard as you did when you're 18, right? When I was 18, 19, man, I could hang with the best of them, go 3 days straight without sleep, literally, live on Taco Bell, and just crush it, and go work at 90-degree heat. Now I'm like, you know what, dude? Let's just call it a day at 4:30. Go home, take a quick nap in an air-conditioned room, eat a salad, drink some water, take my vitamins, and if I don't, I'm gonna die. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just having fun. Work out a little bit here and there, and you're good to go. But here's the deal: we have to start trading more time for more money. It's a really simple equation. So let me go back to, well, I don't have the money to hire an employee. Absolutely, you will when you hire that employee out. Let me give it for instance. You are an owner-operator. You're able to cut 45 lawns, and let's say you can cut 40 lawns, simple math, at $50 each. That's $2,000 a week. You're able to bring in $8,000 gross per month. And let's say those 40 lawns take you, let's say 4 days, 10 lawns a day, whatever. You guys know what I'm saying. It's simple math. That's not bad. That's okay. That's great. When you hire an employee, you are now able to double your workload. Maybe 1.5, 1.75, but let's just say simple math, you're able to double your workload. Well, now you're able to bring in an additional $2,000 a week in gross revenue. How much are you paying your employee to work with you? $400 for the week, $600 for the week, $800 for the week. Maybe you're paying your guy $20 an hour, 40 hours, that's $800. So you brought in $2,000 of additional revenue and paid your employee $800. Boom, there's your ticket right there. $1,200 extra a week that you're now bringing in. And if you have a decent season of 26 weeks, that's $31,200. Simple math on my phone. So there you go. When you're an employee on your own, you're like, dude, I'm making $2,000 a week, 26 weeks. It's $52,000 of gross revenue and blah, blah, blah. There's a lot more to say that goes into that, because you'll get that number up to 70, 80, 90, 100. If you do snow and a little this, a little that, you'll get to 100 in gross. But you're like, dude, I can't break the proverbial ceiling of $100,000 gross. That was the biggest question, the biggest enigma is, how do I get my gross revenue over 6 figures? I couldn't figure it out. And I'm like, wait a minute, I need to trade more time for more money. And as you guys would imagine, there's 2 oars in the water. One is trading more hours, more production, whether it's you and your employees, you and 10 employees, you and 100 employees, it doesn't matter. And then number 2 is the skill set, the knowledge, the service that you're doing, right? Mowing lawns is $20, $30, $50, $75 stuff. If you're going to be doing irrigation, it's $50, $75, $100 per hour stuff. If you're doing aerations, you can do $100, $200, $300 per hour work. If you're doing excavation and brick pavers and all this other mess, it might be $200, $400, $500 per hour production. So there's a multiplier there. Like, let's look at the almonds. They've got 5 guys in the field getting billed out at $75 to $90 per hour. I don't know what that is per hour, but their company is, if they're not generating $1,000 per day, right, per guy, then they're not hitting their revenue goals. Their profitability goals are going to be along with that. Does that make some sense? It's really simple. So a lot of people are like, well, I'm working my guts out. Yeah, but you're doing low pay work, right? Let's just say mowing lawns, which not always mowing lawns is low pay work. I'm probably the anomaly where we make pretty fair money. We do pretty decent mowing lawns, but we have dialed our route down to a crazy science. We're in 5 or 6 subdivisions. We have crazy route density. We're crazy productive. But that's the point. We're hyper everything. And if you just have like a couple lawns here and there and do a couple paver patios here and there and a couple thises here and there, like, it's not optimized, right? Because you're not getting the hours in. You got to get those hours in. So here's the deal. It's just simple math. So let me go back to the burger shop versus McDonald's analogy. You're like, dude, I'm like the highest, I'm like the best burger shop ever. I'm the Andy Mulder. I'm like the high-end artisan hardscaper. Okay, there's a premium there for sure. I mean, no doubt about it. Andy, J Squared Outdoors, pick your person, right? High-end stuff pays well. Your boutique. Like my friend Mike Bedell, he wouldn't consider himself necessarily just a landscaper. He wouldn't necessarily consider himself just a lawn care professional. Mike's a degreed horticulturalist. The way his knowledge level, his skill set level, his aptitude, his skill set. Mike would be considered more of like maybe a gardener. And I know that's not a popular term in the U.S., But imagine like an estate property or a large mall. Back in the 80s and 90s, they'd have an on-site horticulturalist and a gardener, right? And these people would get paid $40, $60, $80, $100,000 to manage everything. Well, 80s and 90s come around. The era of subcontracting becomes a thing. People start subbing out all this stuff. If we were a major mall, why would you have a horticulturalist and degreed lawn and landscape professional and design build guy on staff for $90,000? Get rid of that dude, because we only need $25,000 a year in maintenance, because we can hire a Perfect Cut or a Troy Clog, right? So, but my friend Mike Bedell, he's the kind of guy where he would be a gardener. He can manage 15, 20, 25, 30 sites of some very wealthy and affluent individuals, right? And they're gonna pay him a very high rate because he's going to solve a lot of problems on that site. And he's not just getting paid for the maintenance, the cutting some trees down, the pruning, the whatever. He's solving problems. He is a point of contact that's going to solve 18 different problems per site. So he's solving 18 problems per site times 25 different sites at high skill set, high revenue production work. That's the multipliers, right? So again, let me go back to another example here, to the burger shop. I don't care if you are the Andy Mulder, and I love Andy. I'm not picking on Andy. I'm just great example. But I don't care if you are the high-end, 98% production, high-end burger shop, boutique, crushing it. McDonald's has 40,000 stores, right? You're open 10 hours a day. McDonald's is open, let's just say 10 hours a day. They're open 24 hours, arguably, but let's just say 10 hours a day. They have 40,000 stores, right? Times 10 hours is 400,000 hours of production that those stores are open. Your store is open for 10 hours. I'm not a rocket scientist, but who's going to win the production? Who's going to win the revenue production question or game or whatever you want to call it? McDonald's open for 400,000 hours of production, and your corner burger shop is open for 10. Yeah, but we make a better burger. So what? So here's my point. If you want to start making some more money in your company, you're going to have to figure out how to increase your skill set. That's why every conversation, every podcast, my podcast, Paul's podcast, Caleb's podcast, Bigger Pockets podcast, pick your person, pick your podcast. Say you've got to work on you. You've got to learn, grow, and elevate, right? Because you're going to go from $10 an hour work to $15 an hour work to $20 an hour work. That's neck down money, by the way. Eventually, you'll realize you can make money with your neck up. You make money with your brain. You make deals. You network. You're able to schedule, organize, build, right? General contractors, they don't build anything, but they organize an army of ants of people to build homes, and they make six figures, or 20% profit per house. Well, they don't build anything. They shouldn't make that much money. Well, that's not true. They're working with 40 to 80 subcontractors. I think that's worth a lot of coordination. So you're like, well, they're not working with their hands. No, but they're working with their mind, and they're crushing 20% per house with a profit margin. Does that make sense? So two things we're always trying to do. One, increase labor, increase production, increase hours in, period. Number two, increasing our skill set and what we're able to do with work. Some things just flat out pay more money. Again, let's say you have a decent company. Let's say you have a great lawn care landscaping company, and kind of like everything's all being equal, all being said. I'm just giving you guys some for instances. You got 10 employees and you're crushing it, right? You're crushing. You got 10 employees and you guys are bringing in, I don't know, it should be anywhere from 750 to 1.5 million by them. If you're doing some decent work, some decent revenue production per guy per day in your digs, your daily income goals, right? But another company has 100 employees. Simple math. I'm cracking the code here. I'm giving you the secret sauce. This is exactly how one owner operator is like, I don't understand how people make a livable wage doing lawn care. There's no way. And then another owner operator makes $80,000. And they're like, yeah, dude, it's not that hard. I'm actually not working as hard as you think, because they have their production down and they have a higher end skill set in the services or the work or the problems they're solving. And by the way, if you want to make more money in life, how do you do it? You're like, well, I got to work hard. I got to do this. I got to do that. Sure. Yes, true. But business is just literally solving problems. You solve problems, and the bigger problems you solve, you make more money, right? Like and I'm telling you this from personal experience, because I was ignorant. I was dumb. I was naive. I was not in the know. I did not understand business, life, finance, income generation, business production, nothing, right? And I'm not saying like I'm a guru or anything like that. I'm in the process and I'm learning just like you guys, but I'm literally learning stuff that I want to pour back into my younger self from 5 or 10 years ago. And 10 years ago would be like, well, how do I make more money? I got to like work harder and just work. That's kind of, like I said, one part of the equation, but you got to learn stuff. You got to continue to grow. But there is an aspect of you have to have more production going in. So again, a lot of people are like, if you distill it down, you're like, well, so what do you tell me to do? Hire somebody? Yes. Yes, I am. Employees are free, right? Robert Kiyosaki always says there's a 6x to a 10x multiplier on your employees. If you have a good employee, they should be bringing in 6 to 10x revenue for what you're paying them. So I always tell my guys all the time, I'll joke right here, but I'm serious with them, but I'm also joking. I'm like, hey, dude, my company can pay out $250,000 a year for a salary. They're like, really? Oh my God, that's awesome. Like, when do I start? Tomorrow. As soon as you start bringing in $1.5 million of gross revenue. And I tell my guys, listen, you can write your name in the lineup. You're not a bench warmer. You're not sitting on the bench. You're not benched. You can be an A player. You can make as much money as you want in my company. Look, here's the services we all offer. You want another truck or a rig or a dump truck or a skid steer or a loader or whatever. I will buy you whatever you want. I will entrepreneur you. I will empower you to buy and get whatever you need, and you can have a revenue share, a profit split, a compensation or a bonus to the work that you do. I write your name up in my company, whatever you need. We've got the money, we've got the cash flow, the credit. We can get you whatever you want. By the way, so do a lot of you guys. You know what I'm saying? But I can't have one guy say, "Oh, you're big time now." No, dude, just relax. But it's the same thing as you guys. I tell my employees all the time, you want to make $25 an hour? Here's what you need to do. You want to make $50 an hour? Here's what you need to do. Oh, you can't pay somebody $50 an hour in a lawn and landscape company. You can when they bring in $300 an hour in production. It's not a hard equation to understand or to master. And so let me just kind of go back to the beginning. If you're an owner operator and you're like, dude, I'm working my guts out, I just can't figure this out. You need to hire people. You need to hire 1, 2, or 3 people. And I understand the juxtaposition of, yeah, well, if I go from 40 and it's manageable to 65 lawns, and then I hire them and then they quit or they flake or they go back to school or they no-show or they do drugs, or they get somebody pregnant or blah, blah, blah. And then I got 65 lawns and now I'm screwed because I'm doing all the work and I was already overloaded with 40 lawns as it was, and now I got 65 lawns and now I'm in a tailspin. Look, I get that. I totally understand that. I totally get it. And I've totally been there more times than probably anybody listening to the show. Like, straight up. Here's the deal. You have to learn skill sets. I talked about that earlier. If you want to get more comfortable with growing, you need to understand that your comfortability will come from and stem from your skill set and your aptitude at hiring people and finding people. Period, case closed. I'm not a hero. I'm not a guru, but I've never fretted people leaving because I always understood and believed, right or wrong, I believed, which is pretty much the root of it all, I believed that I was good enough at finding the next guy. And sometimes it comes down to the wire, and sometimes you do get bit. But the reality is that if you want to get more production in, you have to hire more people. And by the time you hire more people, you want to get some more work because you want to keep them busy. And there are certain perfect levels in certain size companies. Like, for example, I have my first route, my first rig, it'll do $250,000 in gross revenue. I can get 2 guys managing that thing. I know what I pay for salaries. I know what I have for profit margin. I know what I get as an owner's draw off the company. It's a stout set, small route, stable small business. Stable's relative. There's no such thing as a stable business. But that being said, it is very stable. It's a nice level, and there's different levels all the way up to the top. Okay, you might have a 10-person company doing 1.5 million, netting 200,000, and you're happy with that. Because after that, you need a shop or an employee, a CEO of your company, and different professionals and the C-suites and all that stuff. And you can start building a $2.5 million company. And then there's a $5 million level. Then there's a $10 million level. There's a $20 million level, right? Here's the deal. I'm happy with my people are like, well, why don't you add a third guy or add 2 crews and 2 rigs? Because if I do, I'm going to teeter-totter from going from owner-operator is simple, it's manageable, to adding 1 guy is kind of tough. Adding 2 guys, for me, is a very stable kind of center of mass. Adding a third guy, well, now we're going to tip the whole top, and it's going to be kind of wobbling and off center. And I'm sure somebody out there is like, hey man, I got a 4 or 5 man team. We got 2 crews, 2 guys in each crew, and you're the sales guy, and you got a 5-person company doing $500,000, netting $180,000, and you're happy with that. Straight up, that's what I'm saying. There's these different levels, these sweet spots. And Troy Clark talks about it, and Corey Ballard talks about it. There's this different sweet spots in business where you can be profitable and even hyper profitable, right? So that's the stuff that I wanted to talk about. I'm trying to crack the code. To some of you guys, this is common sense, no-brainer stuff. I would imagine to a majority of folks that you're listening in, maybe this jogged your brain or your memory, and you're thinking things different, approaching things differently, and that's what I want to do. I want to give you guys some ideas and some nuggets, some things to marinate on your brain and go, what am I doing? Why am I not hiring somebody? Am I afraid? Is there a real fear? What is fear? False evidence appearing real. Am I really afraid of hiring somebody, or am I afraid of them quitting? Well, I'm never afraid of somebody quitting because I'm great at replacing. Okay, cool. Well, I don't know what questions to ask them. We have an employee handbook. We have an employee procurement form at Launchpreneur Academy. You get the resource one time, you use it forever, right? It's incredible what we can do with the internet and scaling. You're like, well, I don't know how to deal with a payroll company. You're right. In the beginning, you won't. In business, you will never know everything there is to know in the beginning. It's not how it works in business. It is literally a throw yourself over the edge of the cliff and build a plane on the way down. Nobody has ever started a business and knew exactly everything they think they needed to know to get to the revenue level where they're at today. Nobody. Not Elon Musk, not Tim Cook, nobody. Right? You learn as you go. Nobody's ever navigated those waters before until they get there. Right? And until you've built 1, 2, 3, 4 businesses, and then you can start looking at patterns, or you're a nerd and you're just getting your master's and you're studying the heck out of businesses and you can start realizing patterns, sure. But for the most of us, you're going to learn by doing. You're going to learn by growing. And you're going to be like, hey man, like we're crushing it. And 2 seconds later, like before, I should say, the paint's still drying. You just finished that last employee handbook. The contract is like, hey dude, this contract just came in last night. Like you're coming in hot is what I always say. Right? And that's just how it works. What else? What other false evidence appearing real? What other fake things are faking you out from hiring somebody? Well, I don't want to hire a good person. I don't want to relinquish somebody. I don't want to give somebody my $50,000 rig, my $100,000 rig. I don't know if I can trust them. You're right. Those are all things you're going to have to learn. And you're going to try, you're going to fail, you're going to adjust. You're going to hire somebody. You might get burned. Somebody might steal something. Somebody might crash a truck. They're all part of the process. You don't want to be 20 years from now looking back on it and say, man, I never got outside of my own circle, my own self, because I had all these different fears, right? It's not a big deal for me now to give a guy a truck that's $60,000 and be like, hey man, go get it, right? Because it's inside my comfort zone, my familiar zone. Comfort zone is such a stupid term, but it's your familiarity zone, right? Am I comfortable? Am I familiar with giving an employee keys to the city, keys to the truck, to talk to my people, to talk to my customers? Yes. Right? In the beginning, no. But it's all stuff that we have to do. We have to put ourselves out there. We have to grow. We have to move the needle forward. All right. So one last thing I put here is it's just labor. It comes down to production. It comes down to production. It comes down to your skill set, right? Solving problems. And it doesn't matter how good you are as that burger shop. If somebody else has 10 other burger franchises, or they have, by the way, you could probably make a better sandwich than Jimmy John's right at your house. The problem is that Jimmy John's has 3,800 locations in the US and Canada, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't matter how good you are at making a sandwich, a little like Tom sandwiches, that's cool. But Jimmy John's is going to smoke you because they have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours and hundreds and thousands of stores. Same thing with your lawn care business. I don't care how good, that's the last thing I'll say, and that's where it always comes to, right? I don't care how good you are at slinging mulch. I don't care how well you are at mowing lawns and striping the lawn, and how knowledgeable you are about lawnmowers, and how good you are at almost all the things that you think matter don't matter. What you have to be good at is to be an entrepreneur and to be a capitalist is to be good at structuring a company to where it's profitable and learning how to work with employees, learning how to work with people, build teams, and grow a company. That's it. I mean, it's really, really simple. And I know when you're an employee, you're like, dude, oh my God, there's 500 fires and the 5-alarm fire bell and everything needs my attention. It's true. And by the way, it's still true for like that for me day to day. That's called entrepreneurship. There's no day where I don't have problems. If I do, I'm probably dead, right? But at the end of the day, you grow that muscle, your entrepreneur muscle, your brain muscle, your entrepreneur skill set. And you start realizing like, dude, this problem, it's not really a problem anymore. In the beginning, it's like, it's an unknown. I have to pay quarterly taxes. I have to pay insurance. How much does this stuff cost? Oh my God, where do I pay it? How do I pay it? When do I pay it by? Shoot, I missed the deadline. Now I got fees. And then you do it for 2, 5, 10 years. And you get into a rhythm. You start understanding business. You start understanding entrepreneurship. And then you're like, dude, yeah, of course that's how it works. And then the next guy's like, dude, how do you do this? And you're like, what do you mean? You don't know how to do it? Because you forget, because you've been doing it for so long, you forget how new people think. And it's just how the cycle works, brother. So, all right, that's what I got for you guys today. If you want to make more money, increase your skill set and increase the labor production in your company. I don't care how suave you are, how slick you are, slinging mulch and laying stripes. Somebody that is, all things being equal, if they got 10 guys with 10 zero-turn mowers, they're going to make more money, more revenue at least, than one guy with one mower. I don't care if the one guy stripes better and the 10 guys are, from Skid Row, they're going to outproduce revenue production as long as all things are being equal. All right. So that's what I got for you guys. It's a pretty simple equation, one that even yours truly could understand and figure out. I came from nothing. I had no help, no skill sets, no knowledge, no business people, no entrepreneurs in my family, no business owners, no mentors, no nothing. Okay. And I'm just telling you, like, I've had to learn how this stuff works. This is cracking the code. All right. So hope that helps you guys out. Let's do this really quick. We're going to kick it back over to Marty, Mr. Producer. We're going to wrap this thing up. I sincerely hope you guys are having a great week out there. For real. Like, you guys can tell I'm fired up. I'm excited about the season, excited about making money, excited about end of month, getting some bills sent out. How about you guys? And getting those checks in a couple weeks from now. So, all right, guys, over and out. We'll catch up with you guys here on the next one.
Looking to maximize your production in the field?
Ballard Products has over 300 products that can help you get the most out of your efforts every day.
Ballard Products. Whether you are looking to get a better cut, keep your gear on your machine, keep your expensive equipment clean and safe, or just get the most out of your machines, Ballard has you covered. Ballard Products. Make sure to use Brian's 10 to save 10% on our complete line of gear. Jump onto our easy-to-use updated website at ballard-inc.com to get your gear ordered today. Keep grinding. Stay safe. And have a great season.
Ballard.
Hey guys, Corey Ballard here with Ballard Products. We appreciate all the support and all you Brian fans. You guys used over 6,000 codes last year, so make sure you use Brian's 10. You'll save 10% off everything on the website. We've got tons of great products to make you more efficient, effective, safe, and hopefully profitable. Again, we appreciate it. Hope you guys have a great year. Make sure you're putting Brian's 10 in at checkout. Save that 10%. Thanks and have a great 2022.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.
This has been a Brian Fullerton and Mr. Producer production.